and welcome to the channel. This week's video is going to be about fixing these Whirlpool and Maytag machines that have the big knob right in the middle. The pulse plate machines are going to have 6 LED lights underneath the big selector knob. Usually these machines have a wash plate in them. Some of them have an agitator, but they still have a plastic tub hub underneath it. Now these machines are really poorly designed. They've already replaced the plastic tub hub with a metal style tub hub that you can replace it with. But another condition that happens to these machines is there is a plastic insert, splined insert that goes in the bottom of the spin basket, and this will wear out. It gets kind of an hourglass shape, and the tub will lean over maybe 3 to 5 degrees, and it will start oscillating like this, and it wears the linear dampers out of your suspension rods. Changing the suspension rods will not fix this out of balance condition, and because of this, many of these machines have wound up in the junkyard. But there's now a plastic insert that you can replace that goes in the bottom of the tub, and that usually fixes the problem. But this is what this video is about. But first, I'm going to go over some improvements I made with an invention I came up with. You can take this device and straighten a bent spin basket that has the center post underneath the agitator. So you're pushing against the center post that's connected to the tub, and you can realign the tub and get it back in balance. Now a lot of these machines, and when those tubs were out of balance, they wound up in the junkyard too. But this little device will help you with that. And these are the improvements I did with that. So please watch this, and after that, then we'll get to the changing the parts that you need to change on these Whirlpool and Maytag models.
Okay, before we start this week's video, I want to catch you up on this device I made for straightening tubs and Amana Whirlpool style washers of the pause play type. That one of the worst things that happen to those washing machines is that the tub will bend, and no matter how many suspension rods you put on them, you cannot fix that problem after that tub bends. And it's in the past, I've just taken just tons of those things to the junkyard, and a disappointment because I always thought that they could be fixed, and now I've discovered a way to fix them. So if you follow along on the channel, you see my process of I made a device that would fit inside the tub and push against the agitator shaft. Well, there's a center post on that tub that comes up that agitator shaft, and it's connected to the tub. So I invented this device, and my process, well, this is the first one I used, and it worked okay with a scissor jack against it. And I got turnbuckles. I said, well, I could do better with a turnbuckle, so I put this turnbuckle down here near the bottom, and I flattened the bottom of the turnbuckle out so that it had a little curve in it. Well, that didn't work too well. I just wanted to slip off. So I took a piece of hardwood, and I took the top part of an agitator and drew the outline on it, and did that. I got a turnbuckle that has a bolt all the way through it, and I went and got a wrench. What I wanted to do was get a ratchet type wrench on that. I don't have one locally. I've ordered one, but in the meantime, I took this 5/8 boxed in wrench and cut one end of it off, and I can go either direction on that. And now this device right here works very well. I've straightened several tubs so far. The first design I had, this would flop around in here, and that's no good. It would move. It would shift the tub one way or another. So I needed to make this solid, and the other end can be flexible. I needed to make that end solid so it wouldn't move. So this is what I've done to this is I moved I needed to shorten the turnbuckle also, so I moved the hole up to the top of the of the curved piece. And with Forstner bits, this is what I did. I took a 3/8 Forstner bit, and I measured down where the eye on the turnbuckle. I put it on here, and I marked for my hole, and at the bottom of the turnbuckle would have been right here. So I took a 3/4 inch Forstner bit, and I dropped it down to open this hole up to be able to drop this through. Now on the bottom, I took a Forstner bit the same size as the turnbuckle I had, or a little bigger, so the turnbuckle would go in there, and I drilled that into this piece to this depth, and from here to here I did the 3/8 hole. So there's a small hole from here to here, a large hole from here to here, and then the recess for the turnbuckle here. That way this does not move around. It's solid, and this part can swivel. And I bought this this foot, a 3/8 threaded foot for this part of the turnbuckle, and it works fairly well. But I got one that has these two holes on it, and if I can find a piece of rubber or something that has a slight curve in it, I may bolt that on here. But for now, it works pretty well. Just pushing against the agitator. So that one works, and I need a screwdriver in here to turn the turnbuckle. And I said, well, this is my second prototype. Now the third prototype is this is what I did. I took a good piece of hardwood that has a tight grain, so these ears won't split off of it. And I put my turnbuckle on there, and I drew the outline of the agitator on here and cut it out with a jigsaw or a saber saw. And I put my wrench on here, and I actually did the same thing as I did on this one, except I used a smaller Forstner bit, for this hole. But see, now that's solid. Now that works. These are the two prototypes I've made, and they both work very well. I keep this one in the shop, this one in my truck. This one's easier to use on a service call. But since I've made these things, I have been able to fix customer machines very well. I'll go to someone's house and I notice the tub is bent, and I'll slap that in there, and I'll straighten the tub, change the suspension rods, and they're good to go. I haven't had one callback for an out of balance condition since I've been doing this. So anyway, these are the prototypes I use. That's the progress I've made on them. But sure, make you one of these for your shop, or your if you need service calls, and quit telling your customers you're not going to be able to fix that machine because the tub's bent. Anyway, let's get to the video. And what will happen, see the bottom of that tub, see how it's starting to wobble? And see those oscillations like this? This is what will happen. So what has happened to this tub, you can see the damage it's done over here. These things here are messed up. It had pads over there. So actually, you see the wobble in this basket. This machine came in with a bad tub hub, and I fixed the tub hub, but when I was testing it, I noticed that it would do that. And I'm going to explain to you what's happened. Is the hub of this tub, on the bottom part of it, there's I guess about 4 inches of plastic, and that 4 inches of plastic has been worn. There's an insert in it, a splined insert that wears, and it's worn out kind of like an hourglass shape, and it'll tilt the basket over as much as 3 to 5 degrees, and that basket will start doing like this, and the suspension rods cannot keep up with such extreme oscillation, and it will wear the linear dampers out just like that. So what that machine needs is a new splined insert, or you can fix it with Ben's shims. So we're going to do this one. I did a video on Ben's shims before, but we're going to use these splined inserts. Now there's a appliance parts place that puts these out, but it looks to me like they have designed this thing. I don't know why Whirlpool hasn't designed it, and it looks to be 3D printed. Alright, maybe turned out. There's a seam right there. It looks like it's 3D printed though. It's got that. It's got that texture to it. I'm not sure, maybe not. It could be. It could be molded plastic. Anyway, we'll drive the other insert out and use this one. I think this is a superior fix to the problem, other than using Ben's shims. But what I would probably do is put this one in the top, which is supposed to be anyway, and then use one of Ben's shims on the bottom to correct the hourglass shape of that tub. So that's what we're going to do today.
You need to remove these 3 screws. This one, take this plate off, and this one.
When you do this, make sure you put the tabs in the slots here. All of this stuff will fall and crash down. There we go. Now, while I'm at it, I'm going to go ahead and remove this splash guard. You just take a skinny screwdriver and stick in the edge of these tabs here and hold it down. Pry them outward as you pick up. And you go all the way around with it. It usually comes right off of there. Now this is a fix only for Maytag Whirlpool products, because Maytag owns Whirlpool now after 2005. Whirlpool went bankrupt 2005, and Whirlpool acquired them later the same year. Lay that there. Maybe we'll clean it up later. Now we want to pull the wash plate. Now this wash plate has already been pulled once. I suspected when I was working on this thing and I saw this damage right here, I said, well, that thing's out of balance too. So I put it back together with a new tub hub in it. The tub hub was stripped and it wouldn't spin at all, and I put it all back together without cleaning it up, just because I was pretty certain that the suspension rods and the tub was compromised. So anyway, that's why all this stuff is nasty. But I will clean it thoroughly before I put it back together. Now to get that wash plate out, this one was stuck and I didn't video that, but I'm going to show you. I made a tool, and you can see how to make your own. This is it. I call it a wash plate agitator extraction tool. When you have a stuck agitator or a wash plate and it uses that thread, what I did is I took an air hammer, pointed air hammer, went to local bolt supply place and got me one of these bolts and welded it to the end. So you run this in there as far as it can go. You want it to bottom out because you don't want to be hammering on the threads. You want to hammer on the transmission shaft. Now these, you have to be careful. Now on a standard Whirlpool transmission shaft like this one right here, you can hammer away at it. You can put this in the bottom of it and hammer away at it. It's not going to hurt it. But on these, you can damage them unless you have opposite pressure. So what you would do, you would put this in here, bottom it out, put your air hammer on here. Then you take a pick or even a pair of pliers right next to it. I'd use picks, and you want to pick up on it where you're hammering down on it. Now I've already taken this apart once, so this should come right off, and it does. And I didn't clean it up because I saw that damage and I wanted to test it. But I will clean all that up before I go back in with it. And I did not have a metal tub hub. I'm out of them at the moment. So anyway, I didn't even put that back in right. So what I want to do is take this tub hub back off of here. I'm going to put my special tool back up. If you want to see how this works, check the link above. I put the link up there, and I went through the process of building it and testing it, and it works fine. Anyway, if you're doing this at home, I suggest putting towels down because you don't want to drop these screws down in here. I'm going to be pulling the tub anyway, so I don't care if I drop the screws down in there, because I can always fetch them out from underneath. I thought I had used all of these, and I found another drawer full of them that I had ordered before. But what happens, these plastic splines will strip out from there. That's actually a good shaft. Let's see if we can rock this thing up. Yep, there we go. Yeah, it needs cleaning out. So what we want to do is turn this upside down, and it has an insert right there, and we need to knock it out. So to get this out of here, there's an insert that goes right in there. Now there's a lip on the inside of that too, so you have to clear that lip and just make that insert. So you either need a socket or something the same size as that. And I have found that a 1-inch socket like this, from a Duralast socket from AutoZone, is the perfect diameter of that insert. Now let's see what it is. It looks like it's 1 1/4 outside diameter of a 1-inch socket. So the thing is, you need to get the 1 1/4 outside diameter. Now 1 1/4 works, but I think it could probably be, it might be able to get a 1 and, let's see, 1 1/4, maybe another 1/16, maybe 5/16. 1 5/16 might get caught in there, but what I'm planning to do is get some bar stock, brass bar stock, and when I get this out of here, I'll put a caliper on it and get the brass bar stock. Just slightly smaller than that, but 1 1/4 outside the diameter of your socket, and this happens to be a 1-inch socket. So if you get a 1-inch Duralast socket from AutoZone, that would work, and it's a deep well socket. Anyway, you want to put it right in there like so, and take you a 2-pound hammer or so, and I'm going to put it this way. It seems like it's more, it wants to wallow around on that thing. Yeah. Well, that one. Well, now they're pretty easy. Ah, look at the money that fell out too. That came out of the drain hose holes. Anyway, when you knock that out of there, this is what it looks like. And this is the new insert. And they are the same. I always thought this one was a little bit shorter. I don't know why. But we'll put this new insert in. And what has happened, I don't know if you can see on the inside of this thing. This thing has wallowed out a bit, enough to cause that thing to. It's not perceptible by the visual eye, but it's hourglass shaped, and enough. I just like a couple of degrees off here makes it go a long way. So let's look at this insert and see how far across it is. 2, 3. So it's almost 1 3/8. So you'd like you want 1 inch and 11/16 outside diameter, so that you have at least a 16th clearance between the hole. But this socket works okay, and I'll make a tool to fit there. So anyway, we want to put this one in and tap it down. Just like so. Now we can put our tub back in. Let's kind of clean it up first. Alright, so now we have this thing all cleaned up and our new insert put in, and we can start rebuilding it. The first thing I want to do while I'm here, I know that these suspension rods are shot, so I got a new set of suspension rods right here. So let's just go about changing them while we don't have any weight on this tub. It's a lot easier. This one happens to be rusted on there, looks like. There it goes. Yeah, that rod's all rusty. Yeah, we'll change the suspension rods, because that's one of the problems when that gets out of balance like that. It doesn't take very long at all to just wear the dampers out of it, of the suspension rod. And when you change suspension rods, don't go for the cheap Amazon guy. Go for the OEM kind. And one of the ways you can tell it's OEM, see this area right here is pretty long. There's a foam piece in there that squeezes this rod, and it squeezes it because it softens the rebound of the spring, and you want to, and that's what's called a linear damper. The springs they don't wear out. It's the linear dampers that wear out. And when they wear out, no fixing it. Yeah, see that one just doesn't hold any at all. So these are pretty easy to change. You can change these from the top without getting underneath the machine. Because it has a slot in the side of the tub. That one trick to do is to bend one of your old rods, slip it down in there and hook and match the hooks together, and then you can put your hangers on just like that. Let's get this other one out. Drop another one down there. You can see that slot down in there. Let me dump these out. In there. I need a hanger. Don't forget to put your little plastic cup in there. Now, these are a lot easier to change without the weight of that tub on it. Alright, now we got our rods in and we can drop our tub back in, our spin basket. Perfect. Now we want to put our tub hub back on. Now normally I would put a new metal type tub hub on, but I don't have one. These splines are good, so this tub hub will probably work for a long time, but the newer metal ones is what I would recommend. Alright, a lot of people use power screwdrivers to drive screws. In this situation, you could drive it down, but don't tighten it, because you can strip these tubs very easily unless you're using hand tools. And one thing you don't want to do is strip a plastic threaded hole. Yep. Okay, also you want to put this clip back in there. U-clip, C-clip, whatever you want to call it, horseshoe clip. Put that back in there. That kind of locks it down into position. Now it spins pretty stable. What I do with the balance, here it is. You'll be able to tell how well it is. That goes right there, just like that. What I'm matching up here, this white area right here has to go underneath that bleach cup. see there's very little movement. Now we want to put our wash plate on. I got it dirty when I was spraying out there and turning it upside down. There we go. And put our bolt back in. That is a 7/16. And we want to snub it down. Very good. And you don't want to forget to put your little hubcap thing back on. There we go. Now let's fasten down our lid. Wind is blowing today. Late September. It's been nice and cool mornings. One thing you can use off for is to put that girl's name and number on here, and she opted to buy one from me instead of fixing this and gave me this machine, so I'm going to clean it up. I'll probably paint the side of it here. I'll paint the whole machine. This off right here takes that Sharpie marks right off. It's good on mosquitoes too. Alright, we're going to move this back to the test track, load it down with a load of clothes, and see how she functions. So she's spinning okay. No bumps, bangs, or bumps, bangs, or beat ups. Works perfect. Yeah, well, we'll call this one fixed. Give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one. Check this out.